Some people would rather have an NVIDIA card than an AMD card. I'm going to put my hands up right now and say that I prefer NVIDIA and Intel over AMD. Doesn't mean I wouldn't put anything in, as for example I've got an AMD CPU. It's just I prefer those brands. So if you're like me, or if you prefer leaning towards the NVIDIA side of things, this PC is for you. This is built for £1,200, as you can see here, $1,215, but hey ho. This PC is for 1440p gaming, an NVIDIA version of my £1,500 build. However, this one we haven't skimped out on anything. We've got from the top Intel i5 for gaming, to a really good CPU cooler to keep it cool, to a really good motherboard, down to a really well-known and trusted SSD and hard drive, to a really beefed out GTX 970 which will last an eternity, to an 8 gold power supply and everything like that. This PC is made to last and will be in good investment if you want to build this. Starting things off, we have the CPU, which is an Intel Core i5 4690K. This really is one of the best CPUs for gaming. 4 cores, clocks at 3.5 GHz but can overclock well above 4 GHz. Really is a really good choice. I would definitely, this was one that I was going to put in my build, but I needed more cores. So this really is, this will outperform most i7s in gaming. Not for heavy workload, but if you're a gamer, this really is the CPU from Intel for you. With most of my builds, I have a few go-to things, and the Cooler Master Hyper 212 EVO is no exception. As you can see, it's the #1 bestseller in fans and cooling. It is well known as one of the best, if not one of the best, cooling for the buck. And, well, there's not really much to say about it. If you want to keep your CPU cool for a really good price, then this is the way to go. The motherboard was a really tricky one again. I wanted something with upgradability-ish, but didn't want to spend a ton of money on it because, let's be brutally honest, to go up from 1440p to 1080, you're going to need to beef out a lot of things, so your motherboard isn't going to be the main thing you're worrying about. So I went with the Z97 PC by Intel. Well, Intel version. This is an LGA 1150 socket, which will fit all i3, 5s and 7s of the 5th generation. 4 stacked channels of DDR4 and stuff, all USB 3.0s. It's just a plain and simple motherboard. So I use this in my other build, and I'm using it again because it is one of my go-to things. Now, as I've said with memory, you normally go for the cheapest and from your most reputable brand. But however, for this one, I've gone with HyperX because it has got all 5 and 4 stars, and it is probably the, I wouldn't say the highest quality brand, but probably got the best reviews on eBay and Amazon and stuff. So I went with their cheapest 16GB kit. For this price point, you need 16GB. You can't really get away with 8GB. You probably could, but for the safe side, with just £25 more, you might as well go up to the 60GB. If you want to put an SSD in your build, then look no further than the Crucial BX100 250GB 2.5 inch SATA 3.1. This is the cheapest SSD I could find. It has read and write speeds, I'm guessing, between 400 and 600. As you can see, mostly good reviews, only 5 1 stars, but look at the 4 stars and stuff. So this really is the best for price to performance. Best gigabytes per pound, so to speak. But if you want to go a bit more overkill, there's a 500GB version and a terabyte version. However, I don't feel that an SSD is necessary. I'm happy to wait a few extra seconds, or even 30-40 seconds, just to save 100 quid or so. But if you really feel you need an SSD, this is the best choice. However, mass storage is really helpful, and unless you're a content producer, 1 terabyte will be absolutely plenty. However, if you want to go up to the 2 terabyte version, it's another £25, but hey ho. I would have gone with a Seagate, but I would rather spend the extra £10 on a build like this to get that bestseller and that highest quality hard drive. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Seagate. My brother uses a Seagate. It's just when you're doing a build like this, I think it's worth spending an extra few pounds on your hard drive. Bear in mind that that's where all your data is going to be stored. For the graphics card, I've gone with my favourite 970, the one that I actually have in my build. It will fit in most cases. It is nearly 40 centimeters long, so it won't fit in all cases, but the case I've picked out will fit in if you take away the cable management slide. This is the G1 Gaming Edition from WindForce of the GTX 970. This is a beast of a card. My one clocks up to 15 and 6 on a stable overclock. Really, really good for a 970. And boost clocks by itself up to 1367. I don't know if I just got a really well binned one, but that's really good. Also, at 1506, it doesn't get above 67 degrees on full load, with fans only in the 60% region. So, if you could go about £20 cheaper and get the MSI one, or you could go about £30 cheaper and get a different one. However, for me, cooling is really important. I want to keep my GPU cool, and this really does keep it really, really cool compared to most. My brother's one, which is the MSI one, will go up to about 75 degrees. This one will stay in the 60s, and this is at like 200 megahertz higher than his. So if you don't want to spend the extra 30 quid on better cooling and stuff, then don't bother. Just get a bog standard 970. But I think it's worth it for the cooling standpoint, just to spend the extra £30 to make it last a little bit longer. I will point out that this is a really heavy graphics card, like really heavy, really, really heavy. For the case I've gone with my case because I know that it works perfectly well. There's nothing massively elaborate about this case. It has 3 hard drive slots and 2 SSD mounts. Has room for an ATX or a micro ATX board. Comes with 2 fans, which my brother calls the turbine because they spin really fast. But however, for me, I'm always either listening to music or wearing headphones, so noise doesn't make a massive difference to me, and they do a really good job. There's also 2, if you look here, you can fit 2 120 or 140mm fans in the front. So you have 2 coming in and then these 2 coming out, or the other way around, depends how you want it. But £55, you can't really get much better than this, and I love this case, it looks fabulous. For the power supply, I've gone with the G1 Gold modular supply. I think that spending the extra 10 quid on this to get the gold really is worth it if you're looking to keep your PC for a long time. This is actually cheaper on the other site, but it's more expensive here because I'm showing them all through Amazon. But this is my go-to power supply for this range of for this like price point. So yeah, this is really good power supply, and there's not really much to say about it. Just is a good quality power supply. We've gone with Windows 8.1. For the monitor, we've gone with BenQ's 1440p 27-inch monitor. This is really for a GTX 970, unless you don't really care, 1440p monitor really is where it's aimed at. However, if you don't want a 1440p monitor, just get the 1080p version of this. Is about £120 cheaper. But I've gone with the 1440p monitor. I think that if you're buying this PC, 1440p is where it's all going to be at. So this is where it's at. This has a 4 millisecond response time, has DVI and HDMI 1.4. So this is one of the cheapest 1440p monitors you can get, with one of the best reviews. So if you're looking into 1440p gaming, this is for you. As I say time and time again, the mouse and keyboard is completely up to you. If you just want something with no thrills and spills, but will get the job done, then this will do perfectly fine. The Cooler Master Devastator UK edition, or UK layout gaming keyboard and mouse, for £35 you can't really beat it, let's be brutally honest. The keyboard and mouse are nothing special, but they're nothing terrible. They will do you perfectly fine. So yeah, so there you go guys, my build for NVIDIA and Intel. This will crush 1440p, it will last a long time, and it'll be a very good investment with quality everywhere. So I hope you've enjoyed, guys. I hope you found this helpful. If you're going to do this build, let me know how it goes, and I'll see you very soon in the next build. Maybe, depends. We'll see.